Hello. Hi, today I'm gonna teach a class that I'm calling 3 poses, 3 ways. And we're gonna work on 3 poses in 3 different relationships to gravity. So we're going to have our body in the same position, but be doing it, on our backs or standing. And just to show you up front what the 3 poses are going to be and the 3 ways we're going to do them, recognizing that there are going to be variations offered along the way, so if something looks crazy, don't worry, there'll be an alternative. 3 of the poses are going to be, I stay here, stay in shot. Utthita Padangusthasana, reclining hamstring stretch. Half happy baby pose. And upside down pigeon. We're also going to take the variation of the lunge, which is the same as the half upside down, half uppy baby, half happy baby pose. We'll take pigeon pose, optionally. And for Utthita Padangusthasana, we'll be taking this variation. Let's see how I can do it right now. Okay. Doing all right. And then finally, we'll have another Utthita Padangusthasana variation, the 3rd way for that particular pose. Will be, of course, the only warrior 3. You'll notice the legs are in the same position as in Utthita Padangusthasana, Supta Padangusthasana. And we'll also have the opportunity to try a standing pigeon. And possibly a standing half happy baby. Anyway, like I said, there'll be lots of alternatives, but I want us to notice how even though our body might have difficulty in one position in the shape, if we can move our body into a position in one of these relationships to gravity, that can be a way for us to move into the pose and to create some of the openings. So that's something I like to work with sometimes. Okay, so let's come on to our backs. I have my feet on the floor, my knees bent. I'm dropping my shoulder blades down away from my ears, feeling them drawing towards my hips. If you wanted to have something underneath the back of your head, you definitely could. I'm noticing that my pelvic bones are parallel to each other. Good. Taking a few deep breaths. Notice your abdomen moving when you breathe. Feeling the outward movement of the abdomen that initiates the inhalation, noticing the softening back of the diaphragm that initiates the exhalation. And then go ahead and bring your right knee in towards your chest and stretch your left leg out long. And we're going to begin moving that right leg from side to side with the breath. So when I inhale, I'm going to open that right leg out to the side. Exhale, leg back to center. Inhale, I'm stretching that right leg over to the left. Exhale, back to center. I'm just moving the leg here. I'm not rolling around on my hips. So So I'm moving the right thigh and the right hip socket, but I'm trying not to move too much. Obviously, the hip's gonna move, but I'm trying not to move too much through the pelvis. And I'm really coordinating the movement with the breath. Good. And coming back to center, you can continue doing that. That is a fun position for you. If you would like to experiment with stretching the leg up overhead, and again, you could feel welcome to use a strap here or to use your hands on the leg. We can try the same idea, bringing the leg across the body and then coming back to center and inhaling and exhaling and just moving with the breath. And again, if this is not comfortable for you, go ahead and do it with the knee bent. Good. And you'll notice I'm switching my arms as I move the leg. That can be a nice bit of choreography to add if you'd like, but don't feel an obligation. Good, I'm going to stretch straight up through that right leg and let that right leg come down. And then we're going to go ahead and hug the left knee into the chest. I was getting ahead of myself. And stretch the right leg out long. And we'll move that leg out to the side as we inhale. And we'll exhale back to center. Inhale across the body. Exhale back to center. If another breath pattern works better for you, that's fine. Just try and coordinate the movement with the breath. Good. Just another breath or two. And then come on back to center. You can continue doing this action with the knee bent. If you would like to either hold the back of the thigh or take a strap of some sort around your left foot, flexing the foot, you could continue doing the same action. Inhaling and exhaling. Moving where it feels right for your body today. Part of why I like starting this way sometimes is moving through a range of motion helps me feel, oh, this feels better than that. And I can notice that as I'm moving. And so it can be a way to get acquainted with what we're bringing to our practice today. Good, and then bring that left leg back to center. Release that left leg down. Okay, and put your feet back on the floor. Recenter your pelvis. Check in, are your shoulder blades lined up above the pelvic bones? Relax the back of the neck and the jaw. Good. We're going to come into another movement sequence. If the movement feels bad on your joints, I'm going to recommend that you just go ahead and come into Supta Padangusthasana. If you'd like to try the movement sequence, you could have a belt or just your hand holding on to the right leg, bringing your right leg into a half happy baby pose. I have my left foot on the floor to help stabilize my low back. And I'm going to work with the breath. And as I exhale, I'm going to stretch up with my inner right heel and come into Supta Padangusthasana. And then as I inhale, I'm going to bring the leg back down. If that breath doesn't feel natural to you, you can go in the opposite direction. For me, I like to exhale as I push up, and I like to inhale as I come down. But some people like the other direction. And just go through the sequence a few times. And again, you're welcome to use a belt around the foot if that makes life more comfortable for you, but you don't have to have a belt. And try not to overuse the right shoulder. Good. And then come back to half happy baby. And if you were holding Supta Padangusthasana all that time, come down and join us in half happy baby. Good. And then if you want to, begin to stretch that left leg out long. Keep the left knee and toes up towards the sky. My left foot is very strongly flexed. My right foot is flexed as well. If you want to hold that foot with the hands, you're welcome to. You'll see this is a lunge position. And so a lot of times if you have pain in the knee and your lunge standing up, this is a position you can take to replicate the stretch in the body position without having to do that weight bearing. It can be fun. Good, and then bring that left foot back to the floor and lower that right leg down. Now again, if a lot of repetitive movement doesn't feel good to you right now, I would recommend coming into Supta Padangusthasana and just holding this position for a bit. If you're up for some repetitive movement, we're going to come into half happy baby pose. So I'm bending that left knee to come toward the armpit. Left ankle is above the left knee. I'm keeping my right foot on the floor, right knee up towards the ceiling. And again, I'm going to push up with my left heel, and I'm going to bring it back down, and do it with the breath. Again, whichever aspect of the breath feels more natural to you as you move through this. Good. Noticing what it feels like to go through a range of motion in your muscles. Good. Just a couple more. Good. And then we'll all join in happy baby. And for those of us who would like to, absolutely no obligation to do anything that doesn't feel good for your body, right? You're in charge. Toes, knees, thighs up towards the ceiling on that right leg if you're stretching that right leg out. Remember, you are the expert on your body. If something feels wrong, it's wrong. You know? Good. Keep breathing. Notice if you can ground through the back of both shoulder blades, both pelvic bones. Good. And then bring that right foot to the floor. And bend that knee, and then bring that left leg down. Come back to lying on your back. Take a couple of breaths. Okay, we're going to do one more thing on our back right now. Crossing the right ankle over the left knee. Lift your left foot off the floor if you want more stretch. If you want to keep your left foot on the floor, that's a great place to stay. If you want more stretch, lift the left foot off the floor, keeping the right foot flexed. Inner border of the right foot is what I'm seeing, not the sole of the foot. If you'd like to bring your right arm in between the thighs and grab the back of the left thigh, you can. Keep the shoulders down. Don't let them lift. Hold for a few breaths. Again, notice if your shoulders are on the floor. Good. Now, if you'd like to try going a little deeper, and that's an if, so stay here if this is a good place for you. Take a hold of the right foot with the left hand. Take a hold of the right knee with the right hand. Put the left foot on the floor. And then you can begin to stretch that left leg out to the side. I'm rotating not from the knee, but I'm rotating from my right thigh. External rotation, keeping my right foot flexed. I'm stretching out strongly through the back of the bottom of that left heel. Inner left heel. Good. Then I'm going to put that foot back on the floor, bring that knee back up. And we'll all join, putting the foot back down and crossing those legs. Check in. Okay, now we'll do the same thing, second side. So crossing your left ankle over your right knee. If this is where your stretch is today, stay here. That's a great place to be. It's where your work is. That's where the magic happens. So that's going to be an independent thing, a unique thing for each of us. So go ahead and, if you'd like to, lift the right foot up off the floor. Try to keep the pelvis relatively even, the shoulders soft. If you'd like to, you could add that left arm moving between the thighs, drawing the legs in any amount towards the chest. Keep breathing. Notice how this side feels. Don't assume that your sides will be the same. We don't use our bodies symmetrically most of the time. Okay, if you're in a good place here, stay here. If you'd like to, right hand to left foot, left hand to left knee, right foot to the floor. Then begin to stretch out through the right heel, lengthening out through that right leg. Right foot is flexed. I'm trying to keep my hips relatively parallel. Keep my shoulders down away from my ears. And I'm rotating from my hip, really flexing my foot. And I'm breathing. Oh yeah. Good. And I'm going to put that left foot back on the floor, or right foot back on the floor, excuse me. Bring that right knee back up to the left ankle. Support that leg on its way down. Uncross the legs, come back to center. Feet on the floor, knees bent. Deep breath to check in. So taking a few more centering breaths on our back. Good. As you're ready, roll to one side. Slowly push yourself up to sitting. And we're going to have an optional dog pose based vinyasa now. So I just want to demonstrate an alternative for those of you who might not want to do the dog pose variation, which is you could come onto all fours and do cat-cow stretches, bringing the torso long when you inhale and arching the back like an angry cat when you exhale. If it's uncomfortable on your knees and you want to pad underneath them, you can. If it's uncomfortable on your arms, you can do it on your forearms. If it's uncomfortable on your wrists. So definitely play with this action if you are not going to be participating in the full dog pose vinyasa. If you are going to be doing the dog pose based vinyasa, let's come together into dog. Downward facing dog, feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. Good. Drawing the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Remember, everything's optional. You can vary things. Bend your knees if you want. Have your forearms on the floor if your wrists aren't comfortable. Good. And then go ahead and bring your shoulders forward over your wrists into plank. Again, you can have your knees on the floor if you'd like. Drawing the shoulder blades back away from the ears, crown of the head lengthening forward. And if you'd like to, lift the right foot off the floor, point your right toe, and just hold for a few breaths. Put that down, and if you'd like to, lift the left foot off the floor, push back through the left heel, or point that left toe, excuse me. Put that foot back down. Good, put your knees on the floor, broaden your shoulder blades away from each other, draw the shoulder blades down the back, slowly lower towards your belly. Draw the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Gently lengthen the breastbone forward any amount, drawing the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Roll back down, push back to all fours, and come back to dog pose. We're going to be doing 2 more rounds of this general pattern. Stretching the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Feel yourself lifting through your inner thigh muscles. Good, so you're supporting the legs with the muscles of the legs, those big heavy thigh bones. Keep supporting them with the musculature. And then come forward into your plank. You can always do this on your forearms. Broaden shoulder blades away from each other. Active legs. Good. Beautiful. Good. One more time if you want to lift up that right foot and point the toe. See, I remembered how to say words this time. And put that right foot down. And we'll lift up the left foot and point the toe. Drawing the shoulder blades back away from the heels. Put that foot down. Knees on the floor. Keep the shoulders broad the whole way down to the floor. And we'll come into a Sphinx pose. Putting your forearms on the floor, drawing the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Good. And then come on down. Bring your shoulders back, or hands beneath the shoulders, push back to all fours. And one more time. If you want to take a break, this can be your next round, child's pose. So feel free to give yourself that. If that's what you need, then practicing child's pose is the most advanced practice you could do. And what you need is the practice. If what you need is another plank, come on forward. I have days like that too. Open the shoulder blades away from each other. Open the collarbones away from each other. We're going to keep both feet on the floor this time. Good. Then put those knees down. Open between the shoulder blades. Slowly lower down. And you could either take a Sphinx or a cobra pose, listening to your low back, right? Good, drawing those shoulder blades back away from your ears and down the back. Actively lifting with my abs. Good. And tucking the toes under, snake your way back into downward facing dog. And from here you can either walk your hands back towards your feet or walk your feet forward towards your hands, coming into a forward bend. And if you were down on all fours in child's pose or taking cat-cow, you can join us here in the forward bend. And you could have your hands on something. You can have your knees bent. Good. And let's bend our knees and come on up to standing. Okay. We're going to do some marching. So we're going to begin by planting our feet, hip width apart, pointing forward. Hips are parallel, shoulders are parallel. I like to have my hands on my hips, but you can have your hands where you like. I'm going to really ground down to my right foot, and I'm going to move my left leg with my breath. And when I exhale, I'm going to lift my left leg up inhale, I'm going to bring it down. And when I exhale, I bring it up. And when I inhale, I bring it down. And it's hard to do it slowly. And just try this, and you'll notice the shifting of weight, right? I'm shifting my weight. And can I stay balanced over that right leg as I lift that left leg slowly? Good. Now I'm going to ground down through that left leg, and I'm trying to keep my shoulders from helping too much, right? They're very helpful. Keep grounding down through that left foot, and then just check out what would it be like. Exhale, lift up that right leg. Inhale, bring it down. Exhaling it out. Inhaling it down. Finding your own rhythm. Good. We do this every day. We walk every day. This action. Right now, it can be a little challenging. Okay, good. And bringing that right leg down, come back to center. Excellent work. We're going to work on a lunge next. We're going to come into the lunge from chair pose and to a forward bend. If you are someone who happens to have yoga blocks or something you like to use as a substitute for yoga blocks, this might be a good place to have them handy, but they are definitely not a requirement. Have your feet hip width apart, pointing forward. And we're going to have come into our chair pose. So I'm going to bend my knees and shift my buttocks back. And you can do just a shallow chair if that's what you're feeling today. Only go as deeply as your joints are comfortable with. I'm keeping my arms forward. You're welcome to have your arms in the more traditional overhead position or at the heart or in another position that's comfortable for you. Good. Keep breathing. Keep the ribs drawing into the body. Keep the shoulder blades wrapped around the side body. Good. And then bend forward. And you could have your hands on blocks here or not, but I'm going to keep my right leg forward. And I'm going to step my left leg back. And I'm in the lunge. If you wanted to have your hands on blocks here, please feel free to do so. Good. And take a breath or two here. Drawing your shoulder blades back away from the ears. Good. Okay, and then we're going to bring our left leg forward back into that squat position. And we're going to take our right leg back into the lunge. You'll notice my left knee is above my left ankle. My shoulders are back away from my ears. I'm trying to keep my pelvis relatively neutral. I'm trying to keep my low ribs drawn into my body. Notice I'm saying I'm trying because the video might show me up. Good. Keep breathing. Lovely. And bring your right leg forward. And slowly come on up. And gently release. Okay. We're going to do that one more time. This time we are going to have the option of adding from the lunge, moving hands forward, possibly on blocks, and straightening the right leg as we lift the left leg up into Warrior 3. And then we can play with the balance if we like. None of this is a requirement. Feel free to come into the lunge a second time. Okay, we're going to start in chair pose. So with our feet pointing forward, hip width apart, I'm going to go ahead and bend my knees. I'm feeling myself bending at the hips and then the ankles as well as at the knees. Dropping those shoulders away from the ears. Deep, deep breath. Good, and I'm going to bring my hands down to floor or blocks. And keeping my right leg forward, I'm going to step that left leg back into a lunge. Option 1 is to stay here. If you would like to come forward, I bring my hand forward onto blocks. You definitely don't have to do that. You could work with your hands on the floor. In that case, you might want to keep the right knee a little more bent. If you are working with blocks or with your hands on the floor, I guess you could do it. Press back with that left heel. Try as much as possible to keep your hips parallel. Now you could feel free to stay here with your hands on whatever support you have. If you'd like to experiment lifting the hands off the floor, you could play with that. Good. And then go ahead and bring the hands down if they were lifted. If the leg is off the floor, bend that right knee. Bring the hands back down. Bring the left leg forward. And then step the right leg back. Left knee is above the left ankle. Option. Stay here. This is a great pose. If you would like to, you could begin to bring yourself forward. If you are using blocks, this is where to add them. And then as you straighten the left leg, lift the right leg up somewhat parallel to the floor. Right foot, is flexed, the toes towards the floor. Good. Beautiful. Push back through that right heel. Lengthen forward through the crown of the head. And you can kind of play with, like, what would it be like to bring the hands up? One side might be much harder than the other. It definitely is for me, as you've probably noticed. Good. And if you're playing with the balance, go ahead and bring your hands down. Bend that front knee. Bring the hands down, the foot down. Bring that right leg forward, back into the chair, and come back up to standing. Good. Now, the next bit is going to be a little more 2-3 oriented, the next pose sequence. So if you're kind of more of a beginner student, I'm going to give you your alternative right now, and it's going to be working on tree pose. And you are welcome to stand by a wall anytime, to use a wall for tree. And you can stand on your right foot. You could have the left foot on the floor if balance is a challenge for you. Definitely feel free to do that. You can also always have the foot on the calf or the thigh. Don't feel like you have to have it in any particular position, right? And so that's the alternative for this next sequence, which is going to be standing pigeon and standing happy baby. So we're going to start standing with our feet hip width apart, dropping our shoulders down away from our ears, low ribs into the body. Good. And just notice your feet on the floor. Good. And now grounding down through your right foot, lift your left leg up. This might be where you stop. If you would like to, moving from your left thigh, begin to lift that left inner heel up towards the ceiling. And then, yes, if you can, reach down and catch that foot with the right hand, holding the knee with the left hand, coming into standing pigeon, pressing down through that right heel. Good. And now, you could stay here. You've done plenty. If you'd like to, take the left foot with the left hand. Take the right hand on the right hip. Whoa, am I gonna do it? Lifting up through the right leg, flexing that left foot, dropping that shoulder. Good. And then slowly releasing that leg. Whew. Okay. So as you can see, half happy baby posture, which on our backs I find to be a rather restorative posture. It's almost impossible for me standing upright. It's very interesting. It's the same shape, radically different experience of the pose. Anyway, we'll try it on the second side. If you're working on tree pose, same pose, second side. Good. grounding through that left foot. And go ahead and lift the right leg up off the floor, bending that right knee. And then I'm gonna rotate from that right hip. I'm catching that right foot with the left hand. I'm holding that right knee with the right hand. Good, I'm pressing down strongly through my left foot. Good, I'm trying to breathe and soften through my shoulders only if I want more. Am I gonna take that right foot with the right hand, bring the left hand to the left hip, and begin to move from the hip to open that right leg into a half standing, or a standing half happy baby pose. Someday I will say the name of the pose, right? Good. And gently bend that leg. Put that foot down. Whoa. And take a moment standing with your feet hip width apart. Tree pose people, you can join us standing in Tadasana. Checking in with your breath. I know that made me breathe a little faster. Pressing down across the balls of both feet. Good. And we're going to come back into our marching. So grounding down through the right leg. Bring the hands to the hips, and lifting up the left leg as you exhale, bringing it down as you inhale. Lifting it up, bringing it down. Lifting it up, bringing it down. Good. One more. Next time it comes down, I'm going to offer you an option. Don't have to do it. Just an option. I'm lifting it up. I'm stretching it out. I'm bending it. I'm putting it down. And I'm taking the length of an inhalation or an exhalation, the length of a breath, to hold each pose if possible, which takes some focus. So grounding to the right leg, just if you want to, and I go lift, extend, bend, down. Lift, extend, bend, down. Don't do this if you don't want to. Last time. Bend and down. Okay, now we're going to ground down through that left leg. Now you're going to work on the right leg lifting up. Exhaling it up. Inhaling it down. And just noticing how it feels. Can you move with your breath? Good. And coming back down to both feet. Asking yourself if you want to add the leg extension. It's totally optional. And it's a lift, extend, bend, replace. Lift, extend, bend, replace. Lift, extend, bend, replace. Oh gosh. And come back to standing on both your feet. Okay, nice work. For this next position, you might want to use a belt if you have one available. And you also might want to be standing by a wall. We're going to work on Utthita Padangusthasana. Standing extended leg pose. So I'm going to ground through my right foot here. And have my feet about hip width apart. I'm dropping my shoulders away from my ears. And I'm going to bend my left knee. And I'm going to lift up through my torso. And then I'm going to lengthen out through my left leg. Now y'all see my legs are in a very similar relationship to each other as they were in Warrior 3. But wow, this is such a different experience with the other foot on the floor. Wow, drop those shoulders down away from the ears, relax the neck and jaw. Good, bend that left knee and put that foot down on the ground. Excellent work. Gonna try that on the second side. Okay, so grounding down with that right foot, or left foot, excuse me. Bending that right knee. I like to use a belt. You definitely don't have to. You also do not have to straighten your leg all the way. You can have a bent leg here. Lengthening through that right heel, dropping down through the shoulders, lifting up through the belly. A few deep breaths. Noticing if the pelvis is parallel. Oh, good. And go ahead and bend that knee and put that foot down. Excellent work. You've earned a child's pose. Come on down to your hands and your knees. And if it's comfortable, bring your head down. You could always put your head on a pillow or something. Like I used a yoga block right there to show you. If your neck doesn't like coming all the way down. And if your knees don't like child's pose, you can come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest and see if that's more comfortable. And take a couple of breaths here. All right. Okay, come on up to all fours. And we're going to either come into dog pose or into cat-cow rolls. So if you are doing cat-cow rolls, come into those. If you're doing dog pose, tuck your toes under and stretch back into downward dog. If you want to bend one knee and push down through the opposite heel and move back and forth, you can do that. Don't have to do anything, right? You are the monarch of your mat. Good, and then press down equally through both inner heels. Draw the inner shoulder blades back away from the ears. Take a couple of deep, full breaths here. Good, bring your knees back down to the floor. Now we're going to take pigeon pose. Pigeon pose does not work for everybody's body. So if you don't do pigeon pose, come onto your back and return to the position we did earlier with the right ankle crossed over the left knee. If you are going to do pigeon pose, you'll bring your right knee forward towards the right hand. So from the front, it looks kind of like this. Right knee forward towards the right hand. I guess for you it would look like my left. And I'm drawing my shoulder blades back down away from my ears. I'm relaxing my jaw, and then I'm going to stretch forward any amount over that leg. Take a couple of breaths here. If that right buttock is a long way off the floor, you could stick something underneath it, like a rolled up sweatshirt. You know, if you're kind of balancing precariously, you can put something down there. Good. And I find this variation of pigeon much more relaxing than standing pigeon, I've got to tell you. Okay, then come on up with your hands a little bit, only if that's comfortable for your low back. If it's not, keep your hands more forward and lengthen more forward with the spine. Only if it's comfortable for your back should you walk your hands back, and just breathe here for a moment in pigeon. Another experience of this very similar shape. We did it on our backs. We were really kind of flexing. And here we're beginning to extend with that back leg, right? So it's similar shape in the front leg, very different experience in the back leg and the spine. So it's interesting to play with these things. How does my leg react differently? Good. Okay, and then we will take it on the second side. We will bring that left leg forward. So again, my left knee is moving towards that hand, that left hand I'm dropping my shoulders down away from my ears. Good. And then I'm going to go ahead and come forward. I'm going to pat underneath that buttock if I want to. Good, and now if you'd like to begin to lengthen upward with your torso, keeping the shoulder blades down away from your ears. You can come up, and again, if your back doesn't really love this, draw the shoulder blades back down, relax the neck and jaw. Good. And just find a pose that feels comfortable for you. Good. And then go ahead and come back to all fours. If you were taking the alternative of on your back, stay on your back. We're going to be joining you. Okay, so those of us on all fours, make your way onto your backs. And I'm laying my arms down by my side, and only if this is comfortable for you. Remember, your body is the boss, right? But my palms are down, and I'm dropping my shoulder blades down my back. I'm relaxing my jaw, and I'm keeping my thighs really parallel. We're going to do some bridge rolls here. And what I really don't like to see is a lot of this in-out action. I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on our pelvis and our sacroiliac joint. So for me, it's very important that the action is up and down, not wobbly side to side. And if you're not coming up very high that way, that's fine. Don't come up very high. So that's my philosophy. So we're going to start with our palms down. And I'm going to inhale, pushing into the ground with my feet, lifting up, and I'm going to exhale and roll back down, keeping my thighs parallel, my knees above my ankles, my feet pointing forward, knees pointing forward. And I'm just working with the breath, inhaling up and exhaling down. Some people like to hold a block between their thighs. If that feels good for you, please do it. Lovely. Okay, and next time you come down, just hold. Nice work. And then I'm going to open my arms slightly out to either side. I'm walking my feet slightly out to the right. I'm hitching over onto my left hip. And I'm bringing my knees over towards the left while stretching my right arm out to the right. And I'm going to take a few deep breaths here. If this does not feel like a comfortable arm position for you, you can play around with moving that arm up or down. This just happens to be one I happen to like. Keep breathing. Bring your feet back up to center and just let yourself recenter. Good. Okay, now I'm going to move my hips over towards the right. I'm going to bring both my knees over towards the left. I'm stretching my right arm out from the right shoulder. I might have said that backwards. I'm stretching my left arm out from my left shoulder. I am so sorry. Anyone who takes my class knows you've just had a classic Rachel experience. Just do the second side. I apologize. Good. Take a deep, full breath. Come back up to center. Good. And settle yourself so that your hips are parallel, pelvic bones are parallel to each other, shoulders are parallel to each other. Good. Take a breath or two here. Notice if you can feel your ribs moving into the floor as you breathe. If you want to put something underneath your head, please do so. Good, and then if it's comfortable for you, we're going to finish our practice in happy baby pose. If that is not a part of your practice, you are welcome to do Supta Baddha Konasana as an alternative. You can always hold the backs of the thighs or the calves in happy baby if you'd like. Now, happy baby pose, I'm stretching my tailbone away from the back of my head, incidentally, if you want some work in the pose. But happy baby pose is the one that got me interested in the different ways weight-bearing affects our movement, because a lot of students who've told me over the years they can't squat and they get a lot of pain when they squat can do this pose, which shows it's not a question necessarily of the joint itself. It's a question of like the weight bearing in the joint, which is it means that the body can actually attain the shape of the pose. And that's just interesting information to have, like, wow, this is a squat right here. And so that's why today I've been working on 3 poses 3 ways, because it reminds me that maybe one way of doing the poses doesn't feel accessible, but there might be another way that is. There's always something you can kind of play around with. Anyway, taking 1 or 2 more deep breaths here. Oh, beautiful work today. I'm going to say namaste right now and encourage you to turn off the video and give yourself a good 5-10 minute shavasana. Lovely job. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.